So happy you're joining us today and every day here in your home for the Big 12. Big 12 Radio, powered by Modelo. Along with James Westling on social at James Westling. I am Ari Temkin on social at Ari Sports. Big 12 Radio brought to you by the Full-Time Fan by Modelo. Treat yourself to an ice cold and refreshing Modelo this weekend. It's a great sports weekend. Perfect opportunity to grab a 12-pack of Modelo's and sit on the couch and enjoy the games this weekend. All right, we've been talking about the games all week, specifically one all week, BYU and Texas Tech. But we've been talking about all of the games, previewing them. It's time to put our money where our mouth is and pick these games. James, you are 31-20 on the season, coming off a 1-4 week.
Yeah.
I am 29-22 on the season, coming off a 1-4 week. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that Stormy Warren, our buddy from the Big 615 on TuneIn, has dropped out because of his record.
I think so.
Or because he's on vacation.
I think a little bit of both.
But last 2 weeks, he's been MIA from picking these games against us. It's probably a combination of having a bad year, which I would know. I had a horrible year last year, Stormy. And also the fact that Oklahoma State is dreadful. It's probably a combination of those two things, but I digress. 31-20, 29-22. So we're picking games at a pretty good clip this year. We've had some pretty big wins last week, not as well, but let's see if we can do well this week. All right, Taman Turner, our producer, what do you have for us? Picking these games. There's only 5, so there's not much drama here in terms of the games we're picking, but what do you got?
Game number 1, Houston at UCF -1.5.
This game, James, is tonight, Friday Night Football action, and since you are leading, you give us your first pick.
Well, even after that 1-4 week last week, not that I'm keeping track, but hypothetically, if I was betting $100 on every game, I'd be up 11%, still have a 61% hit rate against the spread. So this could be a bounce-back week is what I'm saying. I'm taking UCF. UCF is at home. This is their annual space game. Have you seen the social media drama between these two programs on who is the king of the space land? I'll take UCF. They're 8-0 all-time in these space games. And also Houston, they've had some turnover issues as of late. 4 giveaways, I should say, in their home loss against West Virginia. And I just think UCF at home is a different animal. I think they'll get to Connor Wegman and apply pressure on him and do just enough offensively to win the game.
And this will be kind of a rare, hot and humid November game, but not something that Houston is, not used to. You could argue that Houston's maybe more humid than Orlando, so I don't know that that's a factor in terms of the game conditions here.
It's supposed to rain? What's the forecast?
No, just hot, humid, and sticky in a November evening tonight. But I like UCF as well to cover the 1.5 points here. Both teams average 5.6 yards per play, which is sort of interesting. UCF's defense, though, ranks top 20 nationally. It's explosive defensively. And I think both these teams coming off tough losses last week. Stacey Sneed returns for Houston to run the football, but I still would take UCF's defense right now over Houston's defense. So give me UCF to cover 1.5 in the space game.
All right, game number 2, Colorado at West Virginia -6.5.
West Virginia's favored by 6.5, and I like the Mountaineers to cover. I know that's a large line for a team that's won just 3 games this year, but fresh off that win over Houston, I think momentum is building for Rich Rod. Late in the year, a lot of times these first-year coaches, their teams get significantly better. They're one of the top teams in the country in forced fumbles and fumbles recovered this year, and Colorado's offense is just an absolute mess. I think Juju Lewis probably starts this game at quarterback. I'll be shocked if he doesn't. I don't know why not. And I think there's going to be some growing pains. So give me the Mountaineers.
Yeah, the wheels have officially come off on Colorado. I'm going to take the ears as well to win this one. Colorado is giving up over 200 rushing yards per game. It's pretty much all you need to know, in my opinion, about this game. Also, something we talked about earlier in the season, that Colorado should probably be looking for a new offensive coordinator into next season. Pat Shurmur, former NFL coach, longtime NFL and college football coach, but not multiple enough in 2025 college football where you kind of need to create an offense around the players you have to fit their skill set. He's more of like this is what I run and this is how I run it kind of coach, which I think is not what you need in 2025. Pat Shurmur has reportedly been relegated to quarterbacks coach, will not be calling plays. So I think maybe that gives them an uptick. Maybe there's some swing there, but from on paper, from what we've seen on that Colorado defense, there's just no way you could take them with a West Virginia team with a true freshman quarterback that can run the football effectively. Give me West Virginia -6.5.
All right, Kansas at Arizona -6.
-6 is where we have it. I have to say, Ari, I like your Kansas Jayhawks as a road dog. +6. I don't know that they win the game outright. I think it comes down to the last final possessions in this contest in the fourth quarter. But Kansas is really hard to figure out for me because they look like a team that should be in the conversation for a Big 12 championship at times. And then they also just completely lay an egg. I was stunned by their loss against Kansas State, and they didn't look just like they were hitting on all cylinders against Oklahoma State last time out. I think this is a major bounce back spot for them. Jalen Daniels has still been phenomenal. The ground game has still been pretty good. I think KU keeps it close in Tucson in a huge bowl eligibility bowl game.
Yeah, and when you think about so many matchups this year in the Big 12 have been, these are the first time these teams have met in how many years? In some cases, the first time these two programs have ever met. So this is sort of the new age Big 12, where in the first couple years, teams are playing each other for the first time in forever, including this matchup. First time that Arizona and Kansas are playing football since 1966. Kansas, you and I so far agree in all these games. I'm taking Kansas plus the points. I don't know that they're going to win this thing, but I feel like it's going to be closer with two teams that are pretty evenly matched. The one thing that scares me about this game is Arizona's strength is their secondary. They are a really good secondary. They're an aggressive defense. So that's, the strength of Kansas. It's a strength on strength. Kansas' strength at throwing the football against Arizona's strength in their pass defense. That's the one thing that scares me, but I still think it's going to be a close game. Give me Kansas +6.
Iowa State at TCU -6.5.
Yeah, I think this line should be bigger. And I know Iowa State is a very well-coached football team, and they're not going to beat themselves, but they just don't have the horses this year with all the injuries that they're dealing with, losing their two elite all-league cornerbacks and losing a safety this season. And then Dominic Orange is questionable, which tells me he's not 100%. And TCU feasts on opponents through the air. They're third in the country in 20-plus yard pass plays. They're third in the country in pass completions in opponent territory. And that Iowa State offense, I don't think, has enough firepower to keep up with TCU in this game. Maybe a backdoor cover, but I think TCU wins this thing by 2 touchdowns in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can watch Iowa State's defense right now and pick them. And to your point, 6.5 just doesn't seem like enough points, especially given of the offenses that Iowa State's played. This is going to be one of the best. Look at what Caden Salter and Colorado's offense did against this Iowa State defense. What is Josh Hoover and Eric McAllister going to do against this defense? Give me TCU to cover 6.5 points. And by the way, as we've talked about throughout this week, TCU sort of quietly in this Big 12 title race. I think they emerge this weekend as a major potential in that race.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, guys, the big game of the week in Lubbock.
Did we pick all the games? Have we picked all we haven't picked. That's it, right? We don't have to pick any more games?
I think, yeah, we picked all 4. Picked
all 4. Are there any other games this weekend of the Big 12?
Not sure. There's some game in Lubbock, though.
Producer Taman, what do you got?
BYU at Texas Tech -10.5.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that game.
Patrick Mahomes is going to be there.
Who?
Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, the guy that played at Texas Tech.
Yeah, a guy that played at Texas Tech. Is Baron Morton going to be more Mahomes or Apartments? We'll find out on Saturday. He's got to have a big game.
So what are we going to go with that one? See more Mahomes or Davis Webb?
Davis Webb was pretty good.
He was pretty good. Any quarterback
Especially
that plays in the NFL is good.
He was really good at Cal.
I'm just talking about what they did in the NFL.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
Oh yeah, my pick.
You want to pick this game, or you want to just sit there and look pretty?
I got so caught up on Patrick Mahomes and Texas Tech being in their icy white uniforms that are new. That's why Patrick Mahomes is going to be there, because they're going to have his logo plastered all over their uniform combo. And then BYU's got that Sailor Cougar helmet that they're rocking. But BYU is +10 in the turnover margin. That's top 5 in the country. Texas Tech has also been strong in that category. So I think it's a wash there. I think defensively these teams are about even. Texas Tech may be a little bit better. So it all comes down to the quarterback position. But I think Bear Bachmeier can do enough with his legs to keep BYU in this football game. The line is 10.5. A 10.5 point spread for this game on Saturday, a College Game Day marquee top 10 matchup. I don't think we see a Utah-Cincinnati. I'm going BYU to cover.
Yeah, it's too many points. I think Texas Tech wins this game outright.
Agreed.
But it's not going to be by more than a score. I mean, I think it's going to be a 2-3 point game. Yeah, I think so. The number one thing that stands out to me about why I think BYU covers this is because of Bear Bachmeier, because of their defense. BYU is best in money situations. They're really good turning the football, getting turnovers. They're really good on third down. They're really good in red zone. So like, boom, boom, boom. 3 money situations. That's their strength. Also, Bear Bachmeier is very steadily improving in that national rankings. He's 18th right now in the country in QBR. And he's 11th in the country since the Stanford game, which you could argue is his worst game.
Yeah.
Bill Connolly writes of Bear Bachmeier, freshmen might get on the field at quarterback because of certain elite traits, but they're usually forced to learn how to overcome obvious weaknesses. For Bachmeier, his elite trait is his lack of obvious weaknesses.
Yeah. It's very well said.
And the one thing Connolly writes that I loved about Bachmeier, inexperience can strike when it's least desirable, and if it's going to hit Bachmeier, it'll be in Lubbock facing a unique and hostile crowd and a unique and hostile defense. The Red Raiders have forced 20 turnovers, which you mentioned, second nationally, 3 and outs on 44% of possessions. That's insane. They're forcing 3 and outs on defense 44% of the time. David Bailey and Romello Hyde have combined for 17.5 sacks. And Jacob Rodriguez, the best linebacker in the country. They rank in the top 20 in sack rate while rarely blitzing. That defense is as good as you think it is, which is why I think Texas Tech wins this thing outright. But I think this game lives up to the billing. It is going to be fantastic. It is going to come down to the end, and it's going to come down to Texas Tech winning and BYU covering 10.5 points.
I think this is very much like BYU-Utah was, which was a field goal difference right down to the wire. LJ Martin's health is a little bit of a concern for BYU, but Behren Morton's health for Texas Tech, I think, is key in this game as well because he's going to get hit. How does he respond? And that's a great note on that write-up about Bear. What is Bear Bachmeier's weakness? He has the arm strength. He has shown that he's accurate. He understands the offense. He's dual threat. He can run between the tackles. He can get downhill. He can lean with his shoulder. His only weakness is that he's a freshman, but he is checking that box. He's not been rattled at any point this season, and he has shown time and time again that he's not uncomfortable in key moments. BYU has trailed in the second half of 4 of their last 5 wins this season, so he's not going. The moment is not going to be too big for him. I think this is a game that's decided by just a couple of plays.
Yeah, I mean, 63% completion percentage on the season. I mean, there just isn't a weakness. I mean, truly, when you look at it across the board, he is average to above average in every category.
Yep.
And so I loved that comment from Bill Connolly that, like, his elite trait is that there are no weaknesses in his game.
And he has really good receivers. Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston.
Totally.
And then Carson Ryan at tight end. Those guys, I think all 3 of them don't get the attention and the credit that they deserve. They are explosive. I mean, Chase Roberts is averaging almost 19 yards per catch this season. Parker Kingston over 15 yards per catch. Like, they get big plays through the air, and we don't think of BYU that way.
Well, I think this could be a big game for tight ends because on both sides, Carson Ryan and Terrence Carter. But when you think about the corners matchup and safeties, like the skill position guys will be covered well. I think it's potentially linebacker opportunities over the middle of the field, where you get your tight end in cover, your tight end against a linebacker in coverage. That could be where they try to exploit both defenses. But I can't wait. I think, again, it lives up to the billing. It lives up to the hype. It is going to be in a rocking environment. I mean, you were showing me videos on social media of what it looks like in Lubbock right now. And like last night outside the stadium, his fans students are trying to get in. I mean, it's, and I think as we've talked through this game, like the fact that it's theirs and not like in previous years when Tech's been in this spot, it's like, well, it's them trying to beat a team that they've never beaten or haven't beaten in a long time. Like this is just, this is Texas Tech and BYU, 2 teams on equal footing in equal situation. At the top of the conference.
I mean, no joke, right now in real time, Lubbock, Texas, outside the stadium, looks like an after party at the Playboy Mansion. It is insane with how many students are waiting to get into the stadium. They've been camping out all week. We checked in with Chris Level a couple of days ago, and he says, guys, it's nuts already. And right now it looked insane.
You're going to hear some things coming up next you've never heard from Kalani Sitake, the head coach of BYU. Kalani Sitake joins us next with James Westling. I'm Ari Tepkin. This is Big 12 Radio, presented by Modelo, heard on TuneIn and watched on Big 12 Studios.